What's even more OSHA approved is the extension cord just sitting in a puddle of water.
Hannah started video and she asked if this was OSHA approved. Man, you don't even talk like that. The way I get out of bed in the mornings ain't even OSHA approved.
How do you get out?
I kind of come out of the bed like a snail and I let it pop my back.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You don't use a step stool?
No.
You're supposed to.
Ah.
Yeah.
But not over 3 feet.
Yeah.
If it's over 3 feet, you gotta be tied off to the headboard.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
I need to go in there and get that planer, plane this off.
You need me to go get the
Yeah,
planer?
Just go through the door. No. 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 That's not the front door. Hey, what are you doing?
I just hate to quit because of the rain, you know?
Yeah, we could go, work on something else.
I mean, the phone's right there.
Yeah.
They should make me a little bonnet.
It's just right there, but it's coming a hurricane
I
outside.
think this just projected more rain on my shoulders.
That's what I said it was going to do. It's just protecting your hat.
Yeah.
I mean, you look like little white Riding Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't too good.
No,
We gotta get this done.
we do got to get this done. So we got all the plastic down. Now we're just getting this 2-inch foam board down so that this concrete slab will be insulated. Oh, hey, how's it going?
so, what's happening here?
Nothing, just hanging out. Hey, you know how I said that we were going to take the red truck to church on Sunday?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just take your car.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, it's better on gas and everything anyway.
Oh, definitely not.
Well, yeah, so I mean, I was just thinking maybe we should drive your car to church on Sunday.
Oh,
We'll just let
Just-
the red truck have a little break.
a little break?
Yeah, just a little break.
What kind of break?
I don't know. Well, as you can see, we've had a slight catastrophe. This, your drain pan should not have this. Well, if you guys have been watching any of our videos, you know exactly what this is.
Oh, yeah. We're
Yeah.
used to the shiny.
Yeah, we always seem to strike gold in our oil filters. And I don't know, maybe it's like a hidden talent of ours. We always seem to get the gold dust out of our engines.
That's got to be good luck, right? Gold?
I don't know. You know, there's some things in life you just wish you weren't good at. And I wish I wasn't good at blowing stuff up because I do that all the time.
Yeah, it's your middle name.
Chris, blow up more. But everybody said these 5.3s were like indestructible, so I was like, yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll slap one of them in the old red truck. Well, by George, they are destructible. I had this one just shut off on me today. And I was just driving down the road, just, had my arm hanging out the window, just enjoying the nice Thursday weather, because it's been a monsoon here for like the past month, so I was just driving around the red truck. I just got done eating lunch with you.
Yeah.
And was heading back home. And I looked down at the oil pressure and it was like 25 or something. And I thought, oh, that's kind of odd. Normally it's like 35 or 40 at idle. And I didn't think much about it. I revved it up a little bit and it went up to like 50 and I was like, okay, whatever. Maybe it's just the oil getting hot. Well, I drove down the road about 2 more minutes and I just took off at a stop sign and I wasn't on it at all. I was just driving it easy, but I shifted to second and I heard like a knock, knock, knock noise. And I looked back, and when I looked back forward, the truck was shut off and it was just coasting. And I thought, well, that ain't good. So,
Nothing we ain't heard before.
I've heard that noise a lot. But I don't know, it's confusing.
I really need Steven right now. Steven would add some really good. He'd be making fun of you.
Well,
he's gone to go pick up. What is it?
Yeah, he's going to go get stuff for the house.
Yeah.
So Stephen was gone working all day today at some place not here. And so I didn't call him when the old red truck broke down. I called Jimmy, our friend down the road that has the machine shop. And I said, Jimmy, can you bring a chain and come get me? And so he did. Well, when we pulled back up the driveway, I'll get you to put that video in here. Stephen had just got home.
Okay.
And so he got a video of the old red truck getting pulled back home.
Well.
I think Chris's truck's a little louder than that. That don't look too good. First time getting pulled home. Chevrolet's the only one running in this picture.
I'm telling you. But I guess it's part of it. The crazy part is, earlier today, I was getting on it because I was trying to get the tune straightened out, get all the air-fuel ratio right and everything. So I had the laptop in the truck with me, and I had a data log going. And after I did it, I shut the truck off and looked at the data log, and the oil pressure started at like 75 pounds of oil pressure at like 3,000 RPM or something. Well, by like 4,500, it had over 100 pounds of oil pressure, and it just pegged the gauge, and it was just flatlined at 100 pounds of oil pressure. So I thought, man, that's great. This thing's got good oil pressure. And less than an hour later, we have no oil pressure. That's how quickly things can change.
Oh, man.
So, long story short, we won't be taking this to church on Sunday. We'll probably just take your car.
So what do you think it is?
I'm kind of, I got this thing going on in my head. For it to knock, that makes me think that it's a rod bearing. But for it to like not want to turn over at all, like it turns over, but it's really slow, and it has a spot where it really doesn't like to turn over. Makes me think it's a main bearing. I don't think anything else is hurt. I mean, I guess a rod could have gotten hot and whatever, but I think it happened really quick, and I don't quite understand that. But it's a main or a rod bearing. I don't know, but we'll know here in a little while.
You gonna tear it apart?
Yeah.
Okay, stay tuned and we'll.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I was trying on this engine, which I don't do on our race cars, like the main bearing clearances, I set those really big on our race cars, and we run 2050 oil, and it's just kind of more forgiving because these cranks, they do flex, and you just want some forgiveness there as far as the clearance. So I thought on this truck, I'm going to set the bearing clearances kind of tight. I didn't set them as tight as what a stock 5.3 engine would be, but I did set them tighter than what we would run in the race cars. And my thought behind that was so I didn't have to run 2050 oil. I could just go to the auto parts store and buy just some 1030 or whatever and put it in there. And I'm almost wondering if that's what has bit me in the butt. I just put cheap oil in this thing. I bought O'Reilly's brand oil because I
Golly.
thought, well, I thought
You are cheap.
I know, but I thought oil was oil. Whatever. It's just a street motor. But anyways, I don't know that I'll be running O'Reilly's 1030 when I put this thing back together.
Probably wouldn't, no.
But the good thing about it, this truck's pretty doggone easy to work on. I mean, it took me all of about 45 minutes to pull it in the shop, and now we're pulling the engine out. So, we'll,
look on the bright side of life. We'll name the positive things. It's easy to pull the engine when you blow it.
yeah. Well, it's funny. Steven walked over here earlier, and he was like, man, he said, you're having a bad day. And I was like, no, it's all right. And he was like, no, this ain't good. He said, you're having a bad day. And I was like, no, it's all right. It's okay. I was like, this isn't my daily driver. I have transportation. And he was like, no, dude, you're having a bad day. And I was like, Steven, it's going to be all right. And he said, no, it's not. So I was trying to encourage him as he was trying to discourage me.
Oh, yeah, and he's not here to defend himself. Yeah.
Yeah. But
okay.
we'll get it out and see what's wrong with it.
Ready. What is all this?
Chris said, it'll be a little pallet. You can fit it behind your welder. I was like, you sure? He said, yeah, I think it's just 2 foot soffit. And for some reason, they put 2 foot soffit on some 14-foot long pallet.
What did you get?
It's pieces of metal that are that long.
That's not what we ordered.
And the dude at the place, he was like, I guess you're going to have to go get a trailer. And I said, I ain't going to get the trailer. We'll figure something out.
You got the wrong stuff. This is not what I sent you after. Really? Yeah.
Steven, we needed your commentary here on the red truck saga.
You gonna tell the people what happened?
He told the people.
That's funny, because, he's giving us that whole spiel. He's like, it's kind of impressive, put all this together and it just works, And then it didn't.
It did.
It did for
work.
a minute.
It worked for good.
It did some donuts with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said that
just tough break.
you told him he was having a bad day.
Oh, yeah, it's a bad day.
No, it's all right.
No.
I'm fine.
He keeps saying he's fine, but this is actually really bad.
Really
If
bad.
this was my first motor that I'd ever blown up, I would not be having a good day. But now it's just like,
Man, I watched you do this same thing in a red Camaro one time.
Yes.
He took it down the road and it started knocking. He just laid it to the floor. I was like, hey, you need to let off because we might be able to fix it. And he was like, no.
that was that old LT junk.
Yeah.
I put main and rod bearings in that thing, and it didn't make it 5 minutes, and it spun them all again.
So then he just laid it to the floor, and then it really got bad. But yeah, this deal, it wouldn't even let him. It sounds like
No.
it cut off.
I tried to start the thing back for like 10 minutes.
And that's weird because he blowed up one time, and he drove it home, and it had a hole in the side of the block, and it had a broke rod.
I thought about that. I don't know why it wouldn't crank. I'm wondering if maybe, like, the Holly, it has to get so many revolutions before it even starts thinking it's cranking. Like, I think it has to do, like, I don't know, 150 RPM before it even starts to crank, and maybe it wasn't spinning that fast. I don't know.
Well, just...
Because you had a bad day.
And it's all right.
Take it one
And it's all right.
Sing a sad song.
Oh.
struck gold again.
Again.
All right.
All right. Got the old 5.3 tore apart. It's not something you want to do like 10 miles into driving your new project is tear the engine back apart. But it got quite a few bearings, and sorry I didn't record while I was taking it apart, but just I guess kind of got in a rhythm there and just got it yanked apart. But we got a pile of parts over here, and a lot of the main bearings look real bad. That's not how you'd want a main bearing to look. I think it was this was the number 4 main bearing was real not happy, so that's good. And number 3 didn't look great. But what kind of has me confused a little bit, and you know, you never really know what happened, but I guess there's some signs. But this is kind of what, well, this is the thrust bearing, and it was real kind of not happy on one side. That side has been riding on quite a bit, and this side is not really. So it's kind of leading me to believe that I did not, well, I guess kind of a long story, but I didn't measure the input shaft, how far it sticks out of the transmission in relation to how, you know, much clearance it has with the pilot bearing in the back of the crankshaft. And I'm wondering if when I put the transmission in, that when I tightened the bell housing bolts, that it pulled the engine or pulled the transmission up to the engine so hard that the pilot, or the input shaft, excuse me, was pushing on the pilot bearing, which pushed the crank forward, which wore out the thrust bearing. That may be a cause of all this, I'm not sure, but we had quite a few mains that were not happy, and there were 2 or 3 rods that were real not happy. Yeah, just kind of bites. I'm not really sure what all happened. But this is probably why the engine lost oil pressure. You know, when the pickup tube gets that filled with gold dust, it'll quit sucking. But no big deal. It's just a 5.3, and it's pretty simple parts. I've already got the parts out here in the bed of the truck. I'm going to take them down to the local machine shop. Got the rods and pistons, heads, and the crank. And the crank has definitely seen better days. That rod right there was real not happy. And these 2 over here were not real happy either. The mains can probably just be polished up. They don't look that bad, but I don't think it's beyond repair, but it'll probably definitely have to be turned, and yeah, a little different bearing put in. And the pistons and rods look fine. They look terrible because another thing that I figured out, and keep in mind guys, this engine has like 10 miles on it. The PCV valve, I just had the vacuum hoses and stuff from the valve covers hooked up like a factory 5.3 would be, but there was a tremendous amount of oil that was being sucked into the engine, and all of the pistons just look horrible, just baked on oil. So definitely not going to be hooking that PCV valve hose back up. Probably need to put a catch can on the truck just to, I don't know, do away with that issue. But the intake of the 5.3 is just coated with oil, so can't have that. I noticed the truck kind of was smoking a little bit, and I didn't think that was normal because it's got new valve seals and the rings are brand new, so that was kind of odd. But finally figured out that the hose coming from the PCV valve was completely saturated in oil, and lots of oil was being sucked in. So I'm gonna run these parts down to the local machine shop just right down the road, and we'll get this stuff cleaned up and get the thing back together.